When the sun sets, the undead awaken. To slake their hunger, they feed upon the herd of unaware mortals. Right beneath our noses, the kindred clash against their rivals as they vie for control of the city of San Francisco. Are you strong enough to cheat final death and see another night? Vampire the Masquerade Rivals expandable card game from Renegade Game Studios.
Welcome, everybody, to Vampire Wednesday. It is me, Matt Holland, and my compatriot, Matt Hyra here. How's it going, Matt?
It's going well. Thanks for
How are the
asking.
pets?
They're good. They're eating their dinner right now, so I'll have to duck away for 30 seconds in a couple minutes.
Well, that is, I just had my dinner too, as we discussed, some delicious tacos. But you guys didn't just come here to hear about our culinary habits. It's the middle of Prince of the City season, and I want to congratulate. Let's just say that again. I'd like to
Take two.
congratulate.
Let's
Murray.
practice. Start over.
Murray
No.
McRoberts, who's the Prince of Bathgate, and I'm really sorry if I mispronounced your first name because it's a doozy. And then Kenny Michael Otten, the Prince of Sydney, the two winners last weekend, our first two events happening with Shadows and Shrouds Legal. So congrats to you guys. Exciting to see, two events now, kicking off overseas and going really nicely with a good turnout.
Yeah.
And then this weekend, Matt, you have some plans this weekend.
Ha.
What are you up to?
I'm headed up to Burbank for the tournament there. I guess I'm head judging or something like that.
Yes, our very own Matt Hyra is coming out to Burbank Geeky Teas for the Prince of the City, Burbank, California. So you SoCal crew, you get a little bit of celebrity appearance. Bring your Sharpies, get your cards signed, and he will be there to ride herd on that event. And we also have an event happening at the Tabletop Gaming Center in Newington, Connecticut this weekend. So 2 events this weekend, followed by 2 events in Durham, North Carolina, and Fort Collins on the 21st. So we are into the point where they're happening every weekend, sometimes 2 a weekend. So if you have not signed up for your local event, head to vampirecardgame.com/prince, find that local event, get signed up, and get a chance to be a vampire like our other princess. Excuse me. But
Sounds good.
we're not just talking about Prince of the City tonight. There is a big event coming up. Registration actually starts on Sunday. So Gen Con 2022, we will be there. We have a full slate of events for you Rivals fans. There is a intro event on Thursday. So this is just using your choice of pre-cons. It's going to be a much more casual event, really friendly for new players. So come out and play that. Friday, Prince of the City, or sorry, not Prince of the City, the Continental Conclave. So we've upgraded Gen Con to a bigger and badder event with a special city deck, which we're going to be going through in just a second here. We'll also then talk about the prizes for that main event. Saturday, we have the top 16, which is the cut for that event, and a head-to-head 1v1 tournament. And Sunday, we're going to be trying out a team event. So sign up for those. Come out and play Rivals. Hyra will be there. I'll be there. We've got a great bunch of judges returning from last year. So I want to see you there. And it's going to be kind of weird, isn't it, Matt? We got a meta shakeup that we're using, aren't we?
Are you talking about the heart of Europe?
No, I'm talking about
the conclave.
Yeah, the conclave events.
Yeah. It's going to use the Prague city deck, but with a set of conclave events. So everyone who shows up is going to get a set of these, and which you can take home and have fun with. But you'll be using it during the event. But we want to give you a chance to practice and learn the ins and outs of these. So we're giving you plenty of time, almost 3 months, to take a look at these and decide how your deck is going to be affected. And of course, your deck will be affected by the release of Heart of Europe anyway, we would hope. But so there may be some things that steer you in certain directions. We don't know.
So we will have, shortly, we'll have a set of proxies for these events up so you can print them out, sleeve them up, and start practicing if you're going to Gen Con or preparing for the European event later in the year. But if you want to see the Prague City deck, go back to our Renegade Con panel, where Matt and I went through that whole city deck. You can see the new mortals, the new antagonists, and then you can disregard the events that we showed because these are gonna be used instead. You're gonna take the 10 events out of the Prague deck, add in the 10 Conclave events. So without further ado, let's take a look at these.
Which, of course, only a randomized 6 of 10 will be used in each game, but as usual.
Correct.
Yeah. All right.
So
yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say one thing about these. You will notice a bunch of familiar faces on all of these. These events take place, during the conclave, which is this great gathering of, princes and important kindred, and we see a lot of familiar faces and important kindred on them.
True. You'll notice a lot of leaders. Yeah, the conclave is a chance for the vampire hierarchy to get together, talk about issues, air their grievances, work some backroom deals, things like that. And one of the things that they can do is an offer of help. Hey, let's have everyone profit a little bit. Why not? So offer of help is an event. It's a one-shot event that will resolve immediately. Each player may put 1 blood or 1 prestige from their general supply onto a card they control. So that is a way that you could mend up one of your vampires. A card you control does include torpor, because it's in, you do control those cards, and that's part of the rules of torpor control.
The conspiracy?
You could put a prestige onto a conspiracy. You could put a blood onto a ritual. There's several things. So mending, conspiracies, rituals, those are the main things. You notice it's Sonia Valentine there, so you can imagine that she would want to
get some blood on the table.
she would want some extra blood on a ritual, you could imagine.
And worth pointing out, all these cards, they are completely mechanically unique and have new art. Those of you who are not able to go to Gen Con, this pack will be sold separately after the event. You'll be able to get it at Gen Con for the North American Continental Conclave or at our European Continental Conclave later in the year. And otherwise, you can just purchase it.
And the proxies are fine to play with. But if you eventually want to get real ones, that's cool too.
Exactly. And to be clear, you will never have to have this to play in a certain tournament or event other than Gen Con and the European event, where we'll give them to you. But they could be a fun way to mix it up, and enjoy a little bit something different at your friendly local game store at your Vampire Night. So next up is the opening ceremonies. So you have all these bigwigs coming in. They all want to, kind of do that red carpet thing and show off. So here we have, these are La Sombra, right?
Yeah, there's like Annika and Marcus, and I guess I guess Sonia is appearing again. Okay.
Yeah, we got some of the big hitters coming in here. And this is an ongoing one. So you're gonna put the token on it. And it's going to exhaust up to 3 characters in your coterie. Could be 0 if you want. But for each you do, you will gain a prestige.
1 prestige, yeah. So because it's an ongoing activated ability, you can only use it during your own turn. So you don't just do it as soon as the opening ceremonies start. You would do it during your turn. And this is a good way to gain a little bit of prestige. But of course, you have to bow, to your betters and use up the characters, so they're not going to be around to block or do other things. Yep.
That's a good point. I wasn't thinking about the fact that, you have to do this on your turn. It's not just boom, everybody goes. But that's kind of nice. It doesn't force you to exhaust when it's not your turn and you don't really have, options.
Yeah, you might already be pretty well exhausted if this happened just as a singular event. But no, it's ongoing. It's an activated ability. Therefore, you do it during your action phase, during your turn.
Nice. And you'll notice down in the bottom corner of each of these, they have a special Conclave 22 logo,
CC,
so they are easy to sort out.
Right? Yeah, so CC is Continental Conclave. Yep.
You can pull them out of the deck easily and go back to normal Prague if you so desire. Everybody's shown up. I should have put these in a different order, but call the roll. After everybody's showed up, we had the opening ceremonies, checking in who has shown up, who is here, and this one kind of fun.
Yeah, call the roll. Kind of a political event the conclave is, and so characters in the streets have +1 influence. So if you're looking to grant yourself a title or something, what a great time to do it while they're while they're calling the roll. Yep.
And you got to be careful if you want to pass a scheme or something and your opponents have a bunch of people in the streets, just know they're going to have more influence than they would, they have in
Right.
normal situations.
Yeah. And because this is not an activated ability, everyone just immediately gets it. So there may be a situation where someone is currently not in the streets and wants to be, right? But other people can take advantage of that, perhaps.
Quick question, and we might need to put this in the clarification document. If I have a no influence marker and then gain an influence because of this, it's still spent, right?
Yeah, you're still spent. You can't. You don't get change. You either have it or you don't. If you have a no influence, you don't.
Cool. That's what I figured.
Yep.
Show of force. So Tamaska showing up here and getting some work done. And this one's has a little bit of a different thing going on with this place no player token when revealed.
Yeah, this is something that is brand new. So this it's an ongoing event, but it's going to stick around until someone takes advantage of it. And it could be several turns because it's based on, you're looking for an antagonist that you want to defeat and burn. So if there aren't any antagonists out, this event might be out there for a few rounds. But as soon as somebody finds an antagonist and defeats them, they're going to burn them. So if you recall the Prague Team X. Yeah, if you can burn one of the antagonists, you won't have to worry about having all 4 of them in play, which is super nasty if all 4 are in play. Yeah.
Yes. I just like the almost Wolverine-esque attack there.
And it sort of is.
And then Inter Elysium, we have Randolph Mars here taking the respects of some of the other kindred that are in attendance.
Yeah.
And this one is another ongoing, just gives all characters +1 secrecy.
Yep, this happens immediately. It's going to last for 1 round. You can imagine during a conclave where every clan gets invited that there needs to be a little bit of security, right? So, some would say, oh, it should have secrecy the entire +1 secrecy the whole game. Well, that would be a little bit punishing. So it lasts for 1 round, and I'm sure some people will think that's plenty. So, yeah.
And Randolph and his Ventru will appreciate getting to do their title things in a little bit more peace.
Of course.
This is one of my personal favorites of the art. We've got Hydra here, Purge the Old Guard. And this one is going to do some La Sombra-like shenanigans, put an agenda on the characters with the highest blood potency among all coteries.
Yeah. So what that means is if there's 2 6s, a 5, and a 4 out there, doesn't matter who owns them, the 6s are both going to get 1. If there's only 1 6, or maybe someone has boosted their BP, only the highest one will get it. But if there's a tie for highest, it can place additional agenda on each of those characters, only amongst the coteries, meaning not torpor. So, yep.
Good call. Good call. And yeah, that's going to be a nice little bounty put on some of the elder vampires' heads there.
Yeah, and the La Sombra wouldn't mind having that extra agenda most of the time as well. So you never know. That might influence someone to look at some La Sombra.
And then we've got some more 7s coming in. What do you call it?
Have we already spoiled that stuff?
We have not yet. But we did say that there are some 7s in there, though. I leaked that at some point.
Did you? Okay, I wasn't aware of that. There may or may not be some 7 BP vampires in part of Europe. We'll see.
We see Govna here, city-wide lockdown. So this one is a little bit more going on.
Yeah.
You want to go through the text here and the implications?
Yeah, so certainly you could imagine during a conclave that they don't want all of the vampires running roughshod in the city where they're meeting, which I guess is either Indianapolis or somewhere cool in Europe. So they kind of say, hey, we don't want to have, 24 murders happening during this 3-day conclave. So why don't we have everyone go to their havens and stay there? But if you have influence, obviously you can break the rules. Now, as
I
it
love the
says,
thematicness of this card.
yeah. Now, what it is, so first of all, everyone goes back to their haven. Then the ongoing portion is your characters cannot move to the streets during your turn, except by exerting X influence. Now, X means that's an activated ability. You're going to be able to do it once during your turn. So you're going to move everybody all at once. But the caveat is the influence can only come from characters. So
Can't use your
yeah.
influence modifiers. No last word.
Right. And if you have someone who has to exhaust to get to gain influence, they won't be able to then, or actually, no, they would, because this is an ability. So if you do, I forgot that. If you do exhaust a character to gain influence, they can move to the streets if you wish. Not that they're going to do much good out there, but the card moves them. So it's not using a free move to the street. So
sure.
yeah, so you have to move all of them at once. Basically, your leader is going to have one influence, and if you're playing any kind of titles or anything like that, you might be able to generate some additional influence to break the rules of the conclave, as we like to say.
Indeed.
Mhm.
Crack shot. We have General Flint showing up here. He loves to use those vagrants, but this the shooter here is not susceptible to the human meat shield.
Yeah. You can imagine that when a couple dozen high-ranking vampires come into town, that the Second Inquisition, or Team X, as we will find out, is going to learn about it, and they're gonna use their extra special ammo. So you're not going to be able to use vagrants against that antagonist damage, because the Second Inquisition is coming for you.
They're bringing out the big hitters and their best troops to deal with all these vampires. I just love I love this. The art on some of these just came out exactly how you wanted it, and that's just so cool to me.
Yeah.
Speaking of neat art here, Jacob Frost appearing, the new blood.
Jacob Frost, yeah, those thin bloods are always adding new people. Ongoing event, the first time you recruit a character during your turn, gain 2 prestige. So certainly this will encourage people to possibly put an extra vampire out, which is nice to show up to the conclave in greater numbers. The more people you have, the more impressive you are, and this is a means to do that.
And there is just one more event. 2 absent friends.
Yes. So ongoing event. This is something that it's an activated ability, the pay 1 blood. So it's only done during your turn. It's ongoing, so it will be around during your turn. Each character in your coterie has pay 1 blood. Put that blood on target character in torpor. So during a conclave, they might want to do like the Oscars, in memoriam type of thing. So here you get to pay a little blood, and you can put that blood onto any character in torpor. It does not have to be your own.
So Silkatep asking, are these the cards given out at Gen Con? So yes, they are not only a participation prize at Gen Con and the European Continental Conclave, they are also going to be used at those events. So in place of the 10 events in the Prague City deck, those will be removed. These will be put in.
Right, which is why we're showing them to you now, so that you can prepare for them.
Yep, giving everybody a chance to think about the implications, think about, if that's going to affect any deck building decisions or just strategy decisions, just to mix things up a little bit. Well, speaking of tabs and friends here, I think this art is really cool, and it is actually going to be going home with everyone on our participation prize playmat featuring Anastasia Horbanova's 2 absent friends art.
That is nice.
Roast beef. If anybody has hotel space at Gen Con, Roast Beef Sandwich is looking for some, so give him a message on Discord. Yeah, so everybody who plays is going to get a playmat. and get a nice little souvenir of your time at the Conclave. Although that is not all you're going to get. We'll get into that in a minute. I think that's a pretty cool piece. And you may even see some of this other special art for the Conclave showing up in other places at the Conclave, because I thought that was nice and thematic that this art, that's especially for these events, is used in the prizes too. Well, we don't need him here to talk about prizes. So if you're playing in the Conclave, not only are you going to get a set of the event promos, so you'll have your own events to use on the to play that at home, play that at the tournament, play that at your local game store, just change things up. What we do in Elysium, wanting that plastic roost, well, you're in luck, sir. You will also all get a set of acrylic agenda tokens. Now, these will not be the fancy full color ones that we had available at the Season 0 League. These will be more like the tokens that are coming in this next round of OP kits. So engraved and painted, still look very nice, still feel very nice. And then you will also get Timur Love asking, will that playmat be available in the store as well? Not currently planned to. We'll have a North America and a Europe version for those events, but these are OP prizes for these OP events, so unlikely that they will be in the store. The other participation prize is you will get to choose one plastic splat gloss, Haven, or agenda each round that you play in that main event. So everybody should go home with probably 4, maybe 5 plastic agendas or havens. So what we do in Elysium, looking for that Dragon's Roost, you can get that. And we're going to have all the ones from Shadows and Shrouds and Heart of Europe as well. So expanding the selection to give plenty of options. A lot of excitement there. Temur Love, we will have the information on the location and date of the European event soon. It's going to be later in the year. Probably October is what we're looking at currently. Colonial Bob wants 4 or 5 Dragon's Roosts.
Huh.
I mean, I guess if you really want to. Top 16, the top 16 cut prizes, we're going to have a set of 6 full color acrylic Wraith tokens. So these will match the previous full color tokens, allow you to upgrade that element of your game. And then we're going to go back to a prize that we had available in the Season 0 League with some new updates. The top 4 will get one of these beautiful, I actually have a picture of the Season 0 one. It's a beautiful wood laser stain, leather wrapped, foil stamped deck box for our top 4. This will feature like the Conclave logo, not just the Rivals logo from Season 0, but it's a pretty cool like magnetic closure, holds some tokens and goodies. It's a really, really nice deck box. So that's for top 4. And then of course, the champion, just like the Prince of the City, is going to be turned into a character in the game, made into a vampire that they will one day be able to play themselves. And we're going to have a pretty sweet trophy that I don't have a picture to show you yet, but I'm pulling out all the stops to make it pretty wild. So a lot of stuff. If you just show up and play, you're going to get the promo cards, your playmat, some plastic agendas and havens, and a set of acrylic agenda tokens. Awesome Coyote asking, are they going to be called something else instead of Prince? Yes. I have a couple ideas on exactly what I'm going to call them, but I need to do more research first to make sure that it's the right thing.
You also don't need to have the word Prince in your character's name if you don't want to, by the way. So
yes, yep. So we have a lot of cool prizes at the actual Conclave. Justicar is actually one of the ones that I've been teasing around. I've learned more about the Camarilla than I had ever known was possible, working on the different ideas for the Conclave events. Yep. Those plastic cards that everybody is excited about, the Dragon's Roost and things like that, those will be available in basically all the events as participation prizes. So you can play in the head-to-head challenge and get some more. You can play in the beginner tournament and get some of those. You can play in the team event and get some more. So a lot of opportunities to get those plastic cards to get a set of agenda and haven for every deck that you really enjoy, or any of those really cool ones. We'll also have some exclusive prizes for the head-to-head event, which is Saturday. There's going to be a special playmat, and then another one of these deck boxes on offer for the first place winner in that. And Marth 1921 asking, yes, there will be pods. Basically, the whole event, other than when we're running the main event on Friday, we will have Rivals pods available, so you can show up at the tournament HQ with a group of friends, pay your entry fee, play some games, and get some more prizes. So another way to pick up some extra plastic cards, get some more goodies. If you have a friend back home who really wants a particular thing, that's going to be a great option for getting those. And if you just want to play more Rivals, you can do that just about any time that the hall is open. And I think if you would like to get a set of the Conclave events to bring to somebody back home or to have some more for your play group, those could be a great option for people playing pods as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're going to be there the whole time. You know, Matt and I and several judges will be hanging out in that tournament area running events. So you can come by, hang out, ask questions, play in some events, have a great time. I think everybody who played Gen Con last year had a great time. The atmosphere was really good, really welcoming. And we just want to see more of that at Gen Con this year. So events registration does open on, I believe it's Sunday morning. Yes, Sunday, May 15th. So if you're looking to sign up, make sure you got your badge, get in there, wish list the events you'd like so you can get signed up and registered right away. Every event is capped, although it's a pretty generous cap. If we hit it, awesome. I'll see if we can get some more space. So do get signed up and come out and play some Rivals with us. Any questions in the chat? Anyone have feedback? Oh, Matt, we should remind people, one, we are updating the tournament rules just after this. We mentioned it on the stream last week.
Yep.
Just some general housekeeping stuff. We are also, we would love feedback. So if you read through that, if you have questions or comments or concerns, hit us up on Discord, either DM us or just in the Rivals chat. We would love to hear feedback from the community on that. We're also updating the clarifications document with, it was the thing we talked about with Annika, right? Last week?
Yeah. Yeah, Annika breaks the rules of blood sorcery rituals. She's not normally played with them, but you can use them. She's does better with oblivion rituals, but if you do play her with blood sorcery rituals, she can break the initial 3 maximum granted by blood sorcery. So you'll find that in there. Also, there was a little bit of confusion about Flesh of Marble because it is it's a reaction special played during a different time than anything else. So the original rules didn't cover it. Original rules say 1 reaction, right? Well, this one was said play if, right? And so players were like, oh, well, that means I can play multiple. The general rule is still only one reaction per damaging event. Of course, because Flesh of Marble prevents aggravated damage, there are times when, like a Molotov cocktail might hit multiple characters. Each of those characters can play 1 Flesh of Marble if they are able.
So I could play any old reaction on my initial targeted vampire. Correct. And then the attack is Molotov cocktail. I could play up to 3 Flesh of Marbles. Correct. On 3 other vampires that are affected.
Absolutely.
Well, there you go.
Or even on the one that you had previously played on, because the Flesh of Marble allows you to play it only if the character is taking aggravated damage. So there you go.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yep. So that's clarified in general.
Awesome. We'll be uploading that just after the stream here. And just a quick rundown, reminder of the rules we discussed for the tournament rules last time. We have formally extended the table time limit for the final round by 15 minutes at all player counts. We have clarified that the round time for an event is for all tables at that event, whether they are 3 or 4 players, however it is. It just affects everybody equally. We have updated player conduct. We have added some rules surrounding like disqualification, things like that. We've added some rules about table talk and the ability to restrict it if it's a situation where you're a player who is just having trouble like executing your turn or thinking through your options because you've got so many people, you know, trying to convince you to do one thing or another.
Yep.
We have a judge required for the duration of the final table at these Prince events. And that's the main stuff. Everything, if you look in the tournament rules that's in blue, is an addition. So it makes it pretty easy to see what
Yeah.
was changed.
Check it later tonight or tomorrow morning. It'll be updated by then.
Yep. Roast Beef Sandwich has a question that maybe is a good one for you, Matt. For future Vampire Rivals art, will we see art that features antiquated clothing from centuries past, or alternate versions of art that show a vampire from a century before? If not, that'd be an interesting set of promo cards. So are any of the vampires that we have in the game like that old that we know about that could maybe be a thing?
You could imagine Govna, the Malkavian, is one who kind of is a throwback to a 19th century style. But in general, remember that vampires are trying to maintain a masquerade. So
Sure.
Walking around in your Shakespearean, fluffy collar is going to make you stand out. And that is not what the vampires want to do. So,
that's a great point. These vampires didn't just wake up in the 20th century. They've adjusted over 100 years.
It would be fun to do that. There aren't any plans for the moment, but if there's an occasion to do that, we'll consider it.
That's a cool idea, Roast Beef Sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
Well, just a reminder, events this weekend in Burbank and Newington, Connecticut. So if you are near those places, get out, play some Rivals, visit Matt Hyra and Burbank. The weekend after in Durham, North Carolina, and Fort Collins, Colorado. So we're covering pretty much the whole, the central, the East Coast, and the West Coast in these next 2 weeks of the United States. And then Vienna, Austria is coming up later in May still. So we're going overseas again. So please sign up for Gen Con events, sign up for Prince of the City, read the new tournament rules, let us know if you have questions, comments, or concerns, and we will talk to you guys next week when we're going to start showing off the cards from Heart of Europe. I know a lot of people are really, really waiting, want to get and see what's there. I know Coyote wants us to get done with that and start previewing Ravnos. So it'll be a little
we're going to
bit.
Stretch it out. We got a long time. We're only going to do one clan per week, right? That's what we should do for sure.
I was just going to do a card per stream.
Oh, one per stream. No, one clan per stream would be perfect. So
awesome. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. Just keep an eye on those things like we discussed, Gen Con sign up and Prince of the City events. And until we see you at an event, have a great night and hope you're playing Rivals.
Bye.